talking about, and that's some of their utility just not working effectively. TXC, though, finds Benji. Gady will respond with the refrag onto TXC, and now we're in a 2 versus 2. That down being confirmed. Was it worth it? Oh, quick jab hits a goo mine. That will alert the mute to his location, but it's going to put out in the safety of... Spray them down. They're being wubbed out by this Melusi. Giobu is looking the wrong way, though. He just needs to turn around. Gady will find quick jab, though. He is set down immediately by the hide, but Giobu finally springs into action and gets the refrag. A great recovery there from Lockdown Ludens, and they push themselves up 2-0.
Hyde going prone, that's just not what you want at that point, because you look at this and you just say, okay, well, Hyde, if you're not playing prone, well, you could have moved into cover. Giobu wouldn't have been able to take you out. Now, that isn't how the round was lost for the attackers. I think the biggest thing was Ludens, those 2 Gs like you talked about, and I pointed out before, they have a lot of clutching potential when it does come to that late round. The utility, well, like you said, those mute mozzies, we saw Sniper Monkeys there trying to drone at the very end, and in doing so, well, that's one player not with their gun up. Giobu Gady, they say, fine, we'll take the aggression, we'll find a couple of kills. The attackers are quite isolated. You saw quick jab going in through that one hole, then the Hyde is trying to push through Astro. The Ash, well, you're dying at that point with the defuse at the door. Well, that's just not a great position to be in. The Mozzie has that landing and has the control of the site. Giobu, still being alive in Trophy, well, also has control of that. You're still, well, you haven't really got that much on the board, and you've wasted a lot of lives and utility. For the Ludens, it was a case of just closing things down, playing it tight, playing for refrags. It's exactly what happened, and, well, the Hyde couldn't clutch it out, unfortunately. I think there's a lot of things that need to be improved on, Jared, but moving to this kitchen dining, vertical play, and, well, look at the C4s on the board. I think that's very telling right now.
Certainly is, and that's just indicative of what they want to do here. They want to ideally hold a bit of ground above, bait in some of that roam clear, otherwise they're just offering up the ground for free, and you need to force them into little bottlenecks on the top floor so that those C4s can be mightily effective. And I say that especially because we're not seeing a pulse here. Surprising on this site more than pretty much any in the entire game, maybe besides Archives Teletold on Consulate, where he's essential, but they're going to be playing around the intel from those cams instead. That's pretty much needed, and like I said, well, in fact, they're not following my advice. There's not too much presence here on the top floor. It does take a little bit of spray damage, but they're quickly gathering the ground. This is the signature of Monkeys, and they have forced back what's been necessary. In fact, we see a little bit of a spray coming through there from it's Benji on the top floor. Finally, I get to see him just by Trophy. I was blind to him beforehand. So yeah, he is providing that presence, making sure that they linger on in Master Bedroom, and this is where the C4s can start to do their magic if he can feed the intel to his team.
Yes, now those Valkyrie cameras still being on the board, well, they're all out currently, and you still have Benji saying, right, I'm not being pushed down. That means they're either in Astro or they're in that top floor. And in Master, Proctor will find a kill onto Nom the Nom, probably through that vertical play if I'm not mistaken. Actually, no, Proctor is just going to chill here. The information's going to come through and a rotate's going to be made. He's going to find the hide. He's going to look for another one. He's going to get quick jab. And Sturksey's going to fall to Benji. A blink of an eye, and Sniper Monkeys have certainly lost the round. Titchy has to find a kill. He will down Proctor, but will he kill the rest of the Ludens? You've still got Benji on that top floor. You still have all of the Ludens with that revive coming out. The aggression is there, and Titchy will find a kill onto Benji. And Proctor, well, it's a 1 versus 3. This just became winnable, Jerry.
It did, and their early aggression is certainly rewarded with that quick triple from Proctor. Nice move from Benji as well to step in, but now it's all down to Titchy. As you say, he hasn't got any drones left on the board. Holding Diffuser, full health as an Ash. Anything is possible, but he's got 3 full health defenders in front of him. He's hit a goo mine. Has to pull that out. It's going to take precious seconds away from him. That double SAS operator lineup on the defense right now, as well as KK on the Legion, are going to prove a tough task. He's got a Banshee right in front of him as well, so his position will become known very shortly, if he isn't already. A lovely shot there, landing onto the head of Gady. Does have the utility to deal with this, so he takes his time to clear it. KK just lurking in that long hallway, But I feel as though Tichy is actually aware of this position. He knows that Jobu may be to his left. No, he doesn't. He doesn't even check it. Jobu hiding behind the kitchen counter will secure the round for Lockdown Ludens. After a bit of a shaky end, that was all on Proctor on the top floor.
It really was. Being able to find just 3 incredible kills, then Benji is there to just nail in the coffin at that point. Well, incredible play coming from them. Very good hold. You wasted a lot of time giving Tichy. Granted, yes, Tichy was able to find 2 kills, make that 3 as soon as he starts pushing down. But well, you've brought him down to a minute in a 1 versus 5. He finds those 2 kills. He has top floor. Yeah, that's fine. But the Ludens, they just sit down below. You don't have time to do the vertical play and to push. And you don't have the utility to afford it. You saw those Legion Mines, those Banshees, all of that utility just to slow them down in that last 30 seconds, and it worked beautifully. Tichy had to try and push in through China, and like you said, was a little bit suspicious of that Legion's position, but didn't know about the mute. That's just Ludens. They know what they need to achieve at the late round and the start to really get things going, and well, they're going to return to Aviator Games. Jerry, this site, again, we saw Sniper Monkeys stall out very early on. Like you said, they didn't get that much pressure over towards main stairs. They very much just got bottlenecked and then were picked apart by the Ludens. Something that I'm seeing being, well, it's being a recurrence. It's the rule rather than the exception. They're finding these one-on-one gunfights where there's very little attempt for refrag from Sniper Monkeys. Whereas Ludens, they're splitting apart a little bit at the end, but that's when there's like, well, 10, 20 seconds in a 1 versus 2. You're perfectly fine to do so in their eyes, because Sniper Monkeys at that point had lost the round.
I feel as though Sniper Monkeys haven't changed up much compared to the way we saw them play Cafe last week, right? They have this very direct approach that, for instance, on that first AVG round, just saw them channel everything in through study. Looks like that's what they're likely to do for a second time running. And one of the problems that was presented to them was it became predictable. It worked. They managed to gather 1 round on attack on Cafe. They set the diffuser down in kitchen successfully. A very quick push being the way it worked, basically. And besides that, it was adapted to very quickly by Team Triton. I feel as though Ludens are going to read into the style from Smunkies and do exactly the same thing. Right now, Smunkies need to be mixing it up. Instead of going for these sort of very quick, very direct pushes, they need to be going for a bit more of a thorough job. That being said, Tichy has opened the scoring, but Benji goes unchecked to the hide, falling as he enters study. Again, the swing from the games room door, just proving fatal for another Smunkies attacker.
Now, I think what you said about how this adaptation and reaction is going to be coming in, I think that's where we're going to see who is really going to win this game out. Now, Sniper Monkeys, Cersei is going to be able to put a kill onto the board, but will be quickly traded out by Benji. Yet again, getting aggressive in study. Why is this happening, the Monkeys? Why are you letting a player just start walking into study and picking your players off? Because you're getting control, you're getting frags, and Nom the Nom's going to find another one and shut down Benji. But how many players had to fall? You had that control, you had that bookshelf presence. Now you need to be a lot more careful, a lot more measured with your push. You don't have the players to risk moving forward in a 3 versus 2. The big thing for me that I want to see is Sniper Monkeys start to adapt to how Ludens are able to adapt mid-round realistically. But KK, he's able to find 1 kill onto Quick Jab. He'll be able to find another one onto Nom the Nom. And now it's all down to Tichy, not there to support the team and go for the refrag, actually coming around from bookshelf and doesn't really have a choice. There's 2 options with 45 seconds on the clock. You go for the diffuser or you go for frags. Either way, you're not in a great position. You have to give it a try. I think Tichy's going to opt for that diffuser. Will start moving in. Very wary to trigger that Banshee. Will do so. Looks for the first gunfight onto Giobu. Isn't able to land the shot. Knows that KK is going to want to get aggressive and start swinging. But looks away at possibly the worst moment. KK with that reload. Now Tichy is in between a rock and a hard place.
Certainly is. Maybe wishing he would have cleared that Banshee earlier on. He's got 3 breaching rounds in pocket, but he's going to walk right into the waiting arms of the Valkyrie. Somehow gets the kill, switches to the pistol. 5 seconds left. He has to push the mute. Jobu's playing passive right now, but it might not be enough. He swings, can't land the final pistol shot, and Ludens just about edge that one out.
You know what? I'll say it. I'll be honest. I rooted for Tichy there. Being able to quick peek the wrong side of landing, and then being able to flick up to KK, who doesn't take advantage of it. That's actually painful if you are that Valkyrie in that position. Then he doesn't have time to confirm the kill. He's trying to push through sight. That Banshee gives away the position, but Gyobu at that point, him and KK, they wasted too much time. And Tichy's trying to push through, but you don't have the time to work it out. What I want to talk about is the time being wasted in study. We, like you said, right, Sniper Monkeys, they needed to get control of that bookshelf. That's what they did. They had Tichy go below, find a kill, pushing up those stairs, open things up. Suddenly, you've got an entry out of sight. You don't have to worry about the vertical play as much, as long as you have a Valk camera, which I don't think they had somebody watching. Then you need somebody watching study door. Okay, that's great. Start moving in. Start getting your utility on the wall. Start getting stuff done. That's not what's happening. Ludens, they're adapting mid-round. They're just saying, this is what's happening, this is how we deal with it. If they can keep doing that, well, I can see them securing and consolidating the win from last week, and the wins that they've had in the last season as well. Remember, this team, they've played together, they've been working a lot. I believe they're the only actual intact roster from Season 1 to keep going into Season 2.
I think you're right there, and it's beginning to show. This is a very strong side on Ludens. They're really shutting down everything that Smunkies have to give, but I have to look to the failing to Smunkies. I honestly can't turn a blind eye to it any longer. There's some really, really questionable decisions being made, and I hate to harp on about it, but
Yeah.
things like being in a 3 versus 2 and deciding you're going to funnel through one door and failing to get the refrags. That's exactly what you need to be doing if you go for that strategy. A lack of ability to clear important utility. There were 3 breaching rounds in the pocket of the Ash at the end of that round, and a Melusi Banshee still sitting on the model inside of Aviator. So it was just a bit questionable, really. That push would have been so much easier had that been gone. And they were walking into an effective crossfire with no knowledge of the Valkyrie by Skull. So, yeah, I feel like they kind of brought that on themselves, unfortunately. And it was a good... It was a very, very close round at the end, but it shouldn't have been. Oh no, Sturksy! The team kills coming through from Smunkies has got to be hurting the mental game as well at this point.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Something I do want to point out, as we are seeing Sniper Monkeys start moving into this bathroom, they can get the hide with the frag grenades, hopefully not going to team kill, get that utility off the wall, those weak jams are gone, yes. But Ludens, they've shown this adaptation. You can't really see it that much, but when you get into the nitty-gritty, well, they've got 2 ADSs on that door. Yes, they've been taken away now, but you've got a lot of utility. These Romas, they have a very tentative hold over towards the Study and Aviator game side, and Quick Jab is going to be able to find a kill onto KK. The first opening kill, I do believe, since the last round for the Sniper Monkeys. Now, Benji is able to find an answer, keeping that player advantage in their favor, thanks to the wonderful frag grenade mechanics of Sturksy. Big thing for me, Ludens, now the Sniper Monkeys are stalling out with their map control, Ludens are going to rotate their roamers in, or below. We saw this happen last time as well. I think Sturksy is kind of aware of this with that pre-fire, but a C4 will go out. Nom and Benji will trade some damage, but Gady is just going to shut everything down. Sturksy, he is often known as the king of T4. Never having that distinction until now if he wins out this round. Now, I hope you saw what I did. But yes, the king of T4 is going to have to become the king of Bool for the moment and really step up if he wants to win something. In my opinion, though, the best bet, take this time and talk to your team about what's going wrong. Like you said, don't get me wrong, there are mistakes, and you can't ignore them, but I think they're very apparent to the Sniper Monkeys as well.
They probably are. It's more of a mental thing than anything else. They just need to sort out their heads. And Sturksy, we've seen him do some incredible things in the past, but 20 seconds left with 4 bodies still up. Plenty of utility standing in his way. Does land the knife perfectly onto that Banshee to start things off, and will pre-fire the punch hole, but doesn't quite find Jobu prone, and Proctor just sweeps on in with that carbine and says, let's shut this down while we still can. Ludens go 5-0 up on Villa.
Well, this is not the game I anticipated, the game I was promised by R6 Tracker, and most importantly, Jerry, it's a very nice way to warm up and get into the swing of things. Ludens, they've been hot from the start, and Sniper Monkeys, well, they've just been struggling to really get any grasp on the situation. They've had very close moments, but it's just always been down to Ludens having that little bit extra in them. That C4, that information, there isn't even a Valkyrie on the board at this point. It's just knowing that, well, they haven't even made it out of Master at all. They are, well, still in these very, very confined spaces, and 1C4 just shuts all of that down. And my observer science is actually correcting me. Sturksy is also known as the problem of T4, but, well, it depends on who you ask. If you ask a certain YouTuber, well, it's the problem. If you ask, well, anybody who actually really knows him, in my opinion, well, it's the king of T4.
I wish I had a sort of strong opinion on this subject to rattle back against you, but from what I've seen, Sturksy is powerful. I feel as though maybe King of T4 was a little bit pushing it, but we'll see. Maybe he can prove me wrong. I certainly want to see someone prove me wrong from time to time. I like a good bit of humbling, but yeah, I was a bit worried.
Later, and I'll hook you up, man.
Okay.
We'll play some ranked. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'll humble you like that.
Do it, yeah. I mean, you're a far better player than me. I will definitely be humbled by you in ranked. I was surprised to see KK.
I'll see you in the staff match then.
Oh yeah. Oh god, I can't look.
Oh yeah.
I was surprised to see KK go down very early on. Before that round, he only had one death, and he's been consistently sort of sticking it safe and avoiding death and holding on and being that sort of reliable rock for the team. So as soon as he went down, despite the team kill, I was like, oh, maybe there's a bit of hope here. They've undone something that's been fairly consistent within Ludens. But yeah, that double C4 basically shut the round out very early on. I'm a bit concerned for Smunkies because that's a sort of repeat offense, if you will. They've suffered that fate not just here a couple of times, but also on Cafe last week, and it's something they really need to assess and fix up, because that presence beneath them, the inability to sort of be aware of the lower half of the map and the threat that looms beneath, especially when you're walking into things like Valkyries and things like Proctor, it has to be dealt with. Benji is going to return some fire, and I'm not seeing enough from Smunkies right now. They need to be a bit more effective, maybe join this presence that they're bringing from that eastern push, or southern push rather, and link it up with some pressure from Master Bedroom, because right now Proctor and Benji, they're just reigning supreme on this top floor.
And we're hearing these C4s going out. Only one from Proctor at the moment, two more still in pocket. Well, Smunkies, they need to start getting this control. They can just walk into Trophy at this point and start getting crossfire set up. Nomdedom is going to start moving in, as Sturksy and the Hyde are both going to be felled at the moment, while Titchy is there to answer with a frag grenade of their own onto Proctor. But think about it, Jerry. You're still trying to clear out Master with a minute 12 on the clock on a kitchen dining site. A lot of your players, Titchy, still outside waiting for this exit play. A lot of time being committed to the roam clear. Granted, it works, but now you need to do vertical play. You need to push into sight. I like the adaptations Monkeys tried when they said, okay, we got taken out very, very easily by this trophy statue hold when we pushed Astro, so we'll just rotate through. We'll do a full roam clear from Aviator Games, and they sold out hard. That's the kind of push that needs speed, it needs aggression, you need to be able to clear out these players quickly. That's just not what we've seen. The push is going to have to come out with very little clearance, very little information and utility destruction and vertical play. Jerry, this isn't looking great.
It isn't. Those Valkyries we got a glimpse of as well are going to completely read into this push. There's one lurking down here, bottom Astro, and also at the top of main stairs. So unless a sneaky push from the basement closet comes through very quickly, and we don't know, there may well be intel there as well, then this is going to be a really rushed one. There's 10 seconds left on the timer. Where has all the time gone for Smunkies? Jovi's just prone, waiting for the push. The smoke is going to stymie it as well. Easy kills all day long for the mute. He isn't called out, and KK will seal Titchy's fate. Lockdown Ludens lock it down once again with a 6-0 on their defensive half of Villa. This is...
Well, we're going to have a look at the scoreboard, Jerry, and brace yourself here, buddy. It's not looking good.
This is not going to do Smunkies any favours, but we get to see who's performing well on Lockdown Ludens, and the scoreboard is showing us that, well, the kills are coming out very consistently across the board for Lockdown Ludens, but really it's only Titchy that's picking up the numbers on the side of Smunkies. That being said, it was never really kills that were their problem. It was speed and it was execution. Whether they got the kills or not in the end didn't really seem to matter. We saw one round come down to a 1 versus 1, and it was 1 on time. So, yeah, certainly some work to do on their attacking half. Perhaps, though, we can see a bit more promise on their defense, or maybe we'll just see Lockdown Ludens shut it out in a swift 7-0.
I think that's the approach we're looking at. But right now, Smonkeys, they need this momentum shift, and it needs to be absolutely huge because they have to play a perfect game. The defense is the perfect side to do it, but when you look at the map like Villa, it's always kind of been one of those more balanced maps, but I found a very aggressive attacking side can really just start taking control of the pace of the game. They can really start winning things out. So Ludens, if they keep this momentum, keep the aggression going, and keep landing their shots most importantly, well, you know, I could see them closing things out with Smonkeys picking up a single round, which is a very worrying prospect. When you look at the players on the team, you do expect more. On the flip side, though, look at KK. Look at that KD. 3-2, 6 rounds. They're not the most impressive, but I want to talk about a lot about what this implies. Well, KK has been staying alive quite a bit. KK has been holding these positions and wasting a lot of the time with the defense, and that's where Smonkeys, a lot of their problems have been coming from. They've been flooding into choke points willingly. There's been TKs. And I think another key thing is they're allowing themselves way much more time than they can when it comes to doing a lot of these attacking clearances. Now, don't get me wrong, wasting time on the defense is going to make life a lot easier as they move in. Now, Proctor's going to start opening up Trophy, but there's no roam presence to deal with. Smonkeys, they're going to be quite confined. They're going to give Ludens a lot of map control early on. This is going to allow the rotates, it's going to allow vertical play when we look at this execute onto site.
It is, and similar philosophy when it comes to C4s from Smonkeys here on the defense 3, and I mean, for Villa, makes perfect sense. So much soft destruction, so much intel able to be gathered, especially with the Valkyrie still making her way through the ban phase, and you want to utilize that as much as you can, get some free picks. If you don't want to take straight up gunfights, because the attackers will have a fair amount of advantage with those high-powered ARs, then just go with the flow and take those C4s. Tikji will find Proctor, and a second to Gady. He's shutting down this attack single-handedly, but Benji says no, put a stop to that, and make sure we still have a handle on this round. Lockdown Ludens looking a bit shaky on this first attacking round of theirs.
Yes, but I want to point out now, though, that 90 player, a key position for the defenders to hold, well, that was Tichy, and now has been taken away. Combined, the rest of Smonkeys have, well, 7 kills. Proctor has that alone.
Yeah.
Benji, he's gone above the Call of Duty. He's got 8. There's not really that much pressure. Like you said, well, 90 has now been taken control of in sacrifice of 2 players. Benji has those frag grenades burn, those ADSs, quick jab and hide. They're in a very difficult position. You can't open things up yet. Utility can be done, but the hide is going to answer with a shot through that drone hole. Now a 4 versus 2. Now I'm a lot more comfortable saying that this round is in favor of Smonkeys, but Jobu and KK, I pointed out Jobu, one of those players that you just can't ignore when it comes down to clutch scenarios, yet to die as well, Jerry. With time ticking down, if they can isolate the defenders, well, this is just going to make life easier, but KK is not going to be able to do that. It's all down to Jobu in study, looking to push in. Here's the C4 rip. Here's it detonate and now has to move in. Gets the hide in 1 kill on the swing. The Banshee will go off. Suddenly, quick jab. He's aware of the position. He wants to go for the swing, but he knows with the time he can't afford to. C4 will not be shot at midair by Jobu, but Numdadom is going to push Smonkeys through to their first round, and we need to keep on talking about Tichy.
We certainly do. He is the life force behind Sniper Monkeys right now. He's the one that's going to be saying, look guys, let's go, we got it, I'm on fire, let's all step it up and win on this defensive half. Certainly possible on Villa. We've seen wilder things, even in pro play. This is fairly defender-sided, and, you know, if teams like Mocket back in the day can win 6 straight rounds against G2, this is really digging out on my sort of mental archives here. Anything can happen, right? You can turn it around. You can sweep it all the way. It's possible. Tichy, stellar play there. Basically opened the round up for the defense and gave them no choice but to flood into sight with very limited resources.
And just as Tichy gave Ludens no choice, you have also given me no choice to say. Definitely showing your age there, buddy. Sorry about that. But moving into the next round, Smonkeys, a glimmer of light in the form of Tichy, because you're looking at this player who's able to keep dragging his team along in the worst possible scenario, and in doing so, well, that keeps them alive just that little bit longer. Now, though, this is the time for the rest of Smonkeys to wake up and really pay Tichy back. They need to find some kills. They need to find this... I'm going to say it. They need to find a very strong roam presence, a very strong front when it comes to Ludens' attack. If they're not able to meet them head-on and all guns blazing, well, Ludens are just going to split them apart. They've won one round, but they need to win 5 more. Going to Trophy Statue, well, this is a great place to do it, but then you got to think, well, you're going to Kitchen Dining. The odds are definitely favoring the Ludens as it stands. Their lineup hasn't got that much change. They've got that Ashe, Sophia, and Liana. That just says, well, aggression. That's the name of the game. They got Proctor and Gady being led in by Benji, who, even if Titchi's able to find 2 kills, well, then you'll have Benji coming around with that Yana, ready to finish everything up. Xerxes, making his presence aware with that hole in the wall, will just say, you've got to clear me out, you've got to deal with me on the roam clear, and as long as Ludens commit to getting most of these players here, Smonkies have a real chance if they find these kills.
They absolutely do, and we see Sturksy landing the first damage of the round onto Proctor through that little punch hole there, and, oh, sorry, bullet hole. He's trying to just deter, any presence in study, and he's doing that rather well. He's only got 1 kill on the day. He'll probably be not too happy with his performance thus far, but he looks like he's hungry for those kills. He's got to hide beside him, taking a bit of damage in return, as well as dealing some onto KK. So he's just staying alive, and this is exactly what you want from your Jaeger in this position. Proctor has pushed up quite close to that study wall, and he does have the close angle. He will catch Sturksy on the retreat after he finds that first kill onto the Nomad. Good trade, in all honesty. And with 1 minute 42 left on the board, the hide is now locked in Vault. I do believe he has an entry or an exit behind him. Yes, he does. Shooting down 1 drone, a Gemini as well. But this is good. This is very good from the hide. He's just wasting time and buying time for the anchors. Proctor, with a nice wallbang there, though, into the bar, will finally edge them out. And now we've got ourselves a 4 versus 3 with enough time, I'd say, to try and get an execute going.
Yeah, a very, very convincing roam game there. What we saw was Sturksy wasting time. As soon as Sturksy's dead, well, the hide realizes playing in Vault that I'm dead. So now that they know where I am, let's try and get some off position and let's try and catch them off guard. Push comes to shove, we just waste time. That's the trade that we're going for at this point. Now, Ludens, if they have that drone game, they'll know that Titchi's off site. They'll know that they can flood through. They can take 2-on-1 gunfights, but Titchi's gonna push through. He's gonna find a 10th kill. He's gonna look for another one. He'll get it, but Proctor's there with a trade, a 2 versus 2, and now the Ludens, they're gonna start flooding onto the side. They know that they can push through, but Proctor's gonna get taken down by Nom that I'm waiting in Master. The crossfire is set up, and Jobu knows it. Yet again, holding this position in that landing, knowing you have to push through. Smonkies, they're not gonna peek you. You've got to go in now. Quick Jab's still alive with the older. That's going to make it just a little bit harder. Can now play an Astro, and the defenders, they just react to whichever way Giobu wants to die.
Smoked out, and that won't provide too much protection because those Evil Eyes are still up and they can see through the smoke, but Quick Jab doesn't even need that intel. He just pre-fires the door, lands the headshot onto Jobu. That Alder singing true, as my good Irish friend would say, and sealing yet another defensive round for the Sniper Monkeys. They are slowly but surely crawling their way back into this one.
I think everybody at this point says the Alder sings. I don't
Yeah.
think it's just Whippet's thing.
He's
but,
kind of like imparted it onto the casting community. It is his gift to us.
Yeah, it's like we've got Delta Bacon. He said, well, if you can't play, you cast.
Yeah.
And I mean, well, I think I could safely say that bit's true. Then you've also got Blue Panda. He said, you know, the the call center from Hell, and you have a lot of C4s. So I think, yeah, we could give Whippet that. I think that's his little gem for the caster community. But let's take a look at this. Titchi, huge opportunity there to pick up 2 kills. In doing so, you give your team the win. Like, that is no doubt in my mind. That's what we want. It's Titchi stepping up and making these plays. Ludens, my big question, A, you have a Nomad, B, you still have drones, and a 2-player advantage. Why do you not know if Red Stairs is clear? That's my big thing, because Titchi, playing down a Memorial, that's fine. But he just walked over to Red Stairs. He just started walking up. Granted, the reaction was good. Proctor was able to shut him down, but Titchi found 2 kills. The damage was done. Time had ticked down to the point where Sniper Monkeys, they had to throw hard to lose.
I was getting ready to criticize Sniper Monkeys, as I have done a fair bit this game, so maybe they are making me eat my words slowly. But they had a slight disconnect, shall we say, between the roam game and the anchor game, which, sure, that's a fairly traditional way of playing it, but I feel as though you've got to extend the support towards your anchors towards your Romans as an anchor, and there was a delayed response from Tichy to try and do that, but I mean it worked out, and that was kind of down to Luden's negligence. So eventually getting that kill or two on the board, swinging it in favour of the defense, it did come out. I was a bit worried for KK there, taking about 25 HP worth of damage dropping down. But here we go. Look, they're just rushing in through dining. This is the play right now from Ludens. They want to see it out quickly. Benji will find the opening frag onto quick jab. Proctor with another, and we see KK just holding behind, playing that reliable role. None of them goes down on site. That must be it. The last anchor unseated. The Hyde now has to retake alongside Sturkey, who is well far afield. Jobu finally setting down that diffuser as the site control is firmly in the hands of Ludens. It looks like they're going to seal this one out in regulation very quickly. The Hyde getting that first kill on the retake, but it might be too little too late. Proctor holding from behind the table. Gady in that spot that has gone so unnoticed for so long in kitchen. Triple kill on the round for Proctor. Now all on the Hyde. This might just be it, ladies and gents. We have the Melusi finally peeking into sight. Does get Proctor down. Has to find a few more, but he can't do it. KK seals that one out, and Ludens with a swift push onto the kitchen, through that closet, up the stairway, will seal the deal for Lockdown Ludens and take the map 7-2.
Well, it kind of makes you think a little bit, doesn't it? Because you look at those first few sites and you say, okay, Aviator Games, Trophy Statue, we'll try it, we'll push through. If we win it, that's great. Well, Kitchen Dining, it's unique. Because you can't get away with that on any other site on Villa at that point. It's all about that top floor hold. You're seeing that, okay, Sniper Monkeys, they like that more structured defense. They like that roam. That was one of their key strengths when they had Sturksy there last round. And I believe that if they had played that roam game over in that Aviator Games site, well, I feel like that would have been a key strength of them as well. They read into this, Jerry, and they basically said, okay, well, on this site, you need that roam game. You can't not have it like you can on Aviator Games or Trophy Statue, so we flood in. We just push in. We've been winning our gunfights 9 out of 10. It's only really been Tichy that's been the issue. We flood into site while they're undefended. We have the numbers advantage. Let's just go. That's very nicely read from them. A very calculated piece of aggression. And honestly, I think it's just a nice way for them to close it out. They've just been the stronger team. And I think it's quite simple to say that.
Yeah, it's difficult to sort of read too heavily into this. It was just a dominant display. That's all it was. Sniper Monkeys just looking a little bit shy of the mark at times, and they showed their weakness. Looked like it might have been a possible comeback, but coming to that tertiary site, needing to extend out a little bit, and Lockdown Ludens finally having that sort of read on their opponents as to the style of play on the defense and the potential setup that they were going for with that sort of wide roam, whether it be above or across the map. You really do have to do it, like you said, on the kitchen dining hold. And yeah, one of the only sites you can rush. Probably the only alternative I can think of is a full send up main stairs as going for AVG. Even that's not really that direct. So yeah, Villa's a tough one to rush, but that is basically the only one you can manage.
Yeah, and like I said, realistically for the Ludens, it's a case of, well, you win. You only have to win one round. I'm tripping on my words because it's kind of, it's not words I say often when we're in a position like this. We don't see flawless sides. I mean, like, we look at it and we just say, okay, well, now Lockdown Ludens, they win one attacking round. On Villa, you aim to get 2. So mathematically, well, they're fine. You've also got the mental game of Sniper Monkeys. You've got to feel like they just weren't playing their best. I think it definitely shows in how they were working together, how, like, a lot of the key things that came through. And I think that is those teething pains a little bit with the new team being formed. You know, you're seeing players just kind of moving together in the same space, holding the same angles, not really giving the player the space when they need it, i.e. Sturksy on the balcony. Well, I'm pretty sure what happened there was the frag grenade bounced and landed right on Nom de Dom. So I think it's just, it's things you've got to grow out of. There's only one way, but unfortunately, that's what scrims are for. When you come into Buell, you need to be on your top game, and Lockdown Ludens, well, they just were. Their coordination, their reaction, their strats, they're pegging themselves as one of the strongest teams coming into the league.
They certainly are, and I feel as though we've got to give credit to Sniper Monkeys as well. There's always the asterisk in the early start of this season in BUAL that they are a new team, they're coming together, they're trying to learn things, and we saw it last season with, I think the team that exemplified this best was Ophis. They got knocked down straight away in the first round of the double elimination, 2 immediate losses. And then round 2, they make it all the way to the winners' finals in the lower bracket. Round 3, they make it to the grand finals and actually win the whole damn thing. So they showed incredible growth throughout the season. This is a slightly different kettle of fish, though. You've got shorter games, a more compressed season in the form of a round robin, and you need to get that gelling together a little bit more quickly. Hopefully, Sniper Monkeys can learn from these first 2 games, because you learn from your mistakes a lot more than you learn from your successes. And, well, to put it bluntly, Sniper Monkeys have made a fair few mistakes. So, let's just hope that they show some improvement for next game.
A lot of work for the VOD review to take it away from here. But speaking of that next game, we are going to be taking a short break, because shockingly enough, we've actually finished early. So we are going to be taking a 10-minute break before it does come to our next game, which is going to be, let me double check because I hate getting things wrong, it's going to be the Minutemen going up against Chimp Hunters. Now, this is a game where, obviously, there's a clear favorite, so I'm excited to see that underdog story because I love a good bit of it. Do not go anywhere, grab a drink, grab a snack, but be back here in 10 minutes. I'm Greedy, and this is Jerry. We'll see you later.
Conquer the night if I can make it. If I try to draw the red light, I could run through the fire. I could conquer the night if I can make it. If I try to draw the red. I could.
thinking that I could have done something, but now I'm left with an empty heart. No making amends, no waking up beside you and holding you till we forget it all. How could I know there was no second chances? Like dominoes, my life got really scattered. You couldn't keep the door shut, and now the frostbite's creeping in. 'Cause I've been stone cold since you left me here, so come home.
Hello and welcome back to the Badass University All-Stars League. I'm Jerry the Music Man. I'm joined here by the wonderful McCready. We've just had a fantastic Villa game, and now we're going to be heading somewhere different. That rules out one map, but we're going to save that for later. So Chimp Hunters versus Minutemen. These guys have had differing sort of starts to the season, as we saw in the last game as well. Sniper Monkeys often not the best start, and Knockdown Ludens just doubling down on their victory. Will we see that again? Will we see Chimp Hunters pick up their second win of the season and Minutemen slump down, or will they draw level on that scoreboard? Could happen. We don't know. The 3-2-1-0 scoring system as well makes it all very interesting. So if it goes to OT, then everything changes. So what are your thoughts about this, McCready? Chimp Hunters, Minutemen, any favourites?
So I'm looking at this, I'm saying, right, Chimp Hunters, they're currently 4th in the leaderboard. Now, that's because they have that plus round advantage against the other teams that are currently on 3 points. But with Lockdown Ludens doubling down and securing that win, they have jumped up to that 3rd place. So Chimp Hunters, they won their first game, they were able to get it off the board, and looking at this, I'm saying, right, okay, yeah. I'm looking at the roster, and I'm saying, okay, you've got Angelo, you've got Mo, you've got, well, Bullet Man, Sounderness, and Atlantic, right? Those 3, their names I don't know, but Mo, ooh, that is big. Let's bring up the rosters here, because I want to talk about it quite a bit. Angelo, he's also been a compatriot of Ye Old Sturksy that we saw in the last game, playing on the same team as well. So they have that agreement, they have that team made. Mo, also not a stranger to Sturksy's passion stacks and rank stacks as well. So they have quite a nice pedigree over there. Bullet, Atlantic, and Sundowner. I don't know that much about, because I haven't seen these teams either so far, so I'm very excited to get in here. But on the side of the Minutemen, NSJ Source and Dumfries, 2 names that really stand out to me, mainly because they dumpstered me in the other uni leagues that I played in.
That's unfortunate to hear. So you're going to have a little bit of sort of sore memories resurfacing if they pop off here tonight, possibly.
I've retired from uni league as of last Saturday, so don't worry about it. You know, I'm a changed man, Jerry. So I'm looking at them and I'm saying, right, there's talent on there. The rest of the players, I don't know either. So this is very much an unknown match for me, and I'm very excited to get in, because we looked at the last match, we could make predictions, but this one I can't at all, and I think you've said the same.
Yeah, this is going to be very difficult to predict. Interesting fact: we have 2 sides in the league that are humans in their sort of names. So we've got Minutemen and the Princesses, and besides that, everything else is either some sort of animal or robot or mythical creature or a coconut. So yeah, I'm just it's strange seeing a chimp sort of climbing a pike up against just some guy with a gun. Like, I feel like Minutemen could have done a bit better with their team.
Well, hold on, right? Knife to a gunfight is springing to mind right now. But one thing that also looks at me, well, look at Minutemen's roster. Caledonian Chargers, all 4 of them.
Scary Scots,
Age of Salt
all coming your way. Yeah.
Fun fact, they could have actually had a full Caledonian Chargers roster, but King Cairo decided to go into Coconut, Cracked. And when you look at the standings, well, you know what? Who can play with me? He's actually doing better off for not going with the rest of them. But that's a roster that, as much as I said, where's Mo and Angelo, they've played together before. Well, this is a team that's just playing, that might as well be playing with a sub when you think about it, you know. They're bringing Age of Sol in, the saying, right, these are the strats, this is where you fit in, this is what we're going to do. So that's a very scary thought as well, because they're a good team.
Yeah, that sort of philosophy of potentially thinking of it as the same team but plus a sub might prove a bit difficult to work with as a dynamic, potentially. Whereas you've got a team like Chimp Hunters, where every single one of them is from a different university. They actually have to make an active effort to sort of gel together, to be practicing together, to try and get a taste of that wonderful prize pool at the end of the day. So it's going to be a very different experience for both of these teams, I think, as they progress through the season. But perhaps that sort of unity and that foreknowledge will actually benefit Minutemen. Perhaps they will have a bit of an edge, and maybe last week is a bit of an anomaly. Who knows? I think, like you said, they've got some good players in that roster, and it could just be that they turn up on the day.
Yeah. Now, we're going to take a look at the maps very quickly, because we are going to be looking again into the game very, very soon. So, let's take a look at it on the board right now. Consulate and Oregon. These are the maps being taken away immediately. Now, Chimp Hunters were able to beat out Coconut Correct, if I do remember correctly, on Consulate. Whereas Oregon, on Minutemen, they lost out, and, well, that didn't go great. But these two maps are now banned for both of these teams for 2 weeks. So that's quite interesting. No Oregon. Clubhouse, that's a very real possibility, as Villa and Chile are being taken away, leaving CAF, Clubhouse, and Coastline. Now, I don't think that Minutemen, they're going to want to go to Coastline because, well, Chimp Hunters, they've started off strong. They've been doing quite well so far. So the next couple of bans, these are going to be influential to me.
Well, it looks like Chimp Hunters has actually been the one to ban off Coastline, interestingly, which is... well, I don't think it's too surprising. They banned Consulate, so they clear... Oh, no, sorry, they played Consulate... No, that is surprising. They played Consulate last week, so clearly sort of a fan of slightly more aggressive favoured maps, and Coastline sort of exemplifies that. So maybe they just wanted a sort of comfortable choice. Clubhouse, Cafe, a pair of very sort of sensible options, I suppose you could call them. Clubhouse is going to be the final ban for Minutemen, effectively choosing Cafe, and yep, that's it's a good battleground, honestly. Cafe just makes sense, and I'm always excited to see a good Cafe game. Every single time we play Cafe, or we get to see Cafe, I'm intrigued to see if they make it to a tertiary site and we get to see a reading hold, because I just love reading holds. Yes. We saw in EUL very recently, Na'Vi managed to pull off a pretty convincing win against Secret, and they sealed it off on a mining hold of all things. So certainly some of these strats will be sort of trickling down the tierosphere of Siege, and yeah, like more sort of diversity on a map that is very well played out. I'm all for it. I really want to see some teams sort of pick up that kind of flexibility here.
Yeah, I've seen Na'Vi. They're very, very comfortable on Kaftos.
Oh, they did.
Think about, the UKIN finals that you did, when you think about EUL, and just track history. So, maybe Minutemen, they're pushing us to CAF. They're looking to be the Na'Vi, or, forgive me, Reddit, the Nuvi. Yep, wow. I'll let that one sink in. Yeah, like so I'm going to take some dad jokes off of you. We can't just... Yeah. We can't get typecast, Jerry.
It's good, yeah. I am a good, well-known appreciator of dad jokes, and when some come my way, I will happily praise them. That was a very, very nice one.
Thank you.
So, yeah, Cafe. And... I have not much to say about these two sides. I didn't get to see them in the first week. I've got to be honest. It's gonna be a surprise either way. The only thing I can say is that if Chimp Hunters don't continue their good start, then that will be slightly more surprising to me. But I didn't get to see the sort of nature of the victory. So yeah, I'm all for the entertainment here, basically.
Yeah, and so obviously not much we can say about the players, but the map itself, well, I think we're in the same boat. There's not really that much to say about it. You got your bog standard top and bottom floor sites. Well, as a defender, you look at shutting them down. It's a case of who executes the strats better, unless you bring out something that is just something special. For example, in the first season, in the very first Playday, yet again that we worked together, we saw Angelo and the side of Fuking Zoo. Well, what they did was they put an hammer on the east side in through that cocktail window when they started applying the pressure, getting ready for a push over towards the new balcony, the default spot. In doing so, you had players ready for reflex, because yes, the Amory died immediately. But then the Nomad immediately picked up 2 kills. And then the plant went down and the round was won. So, honestly, I'm looking at this, I'm saying, you run the default strats, if you have something special, there is that room for it. It's not a map like Clubhouse. It's not a map where you can't risk anything, because you're already doing the best if you're doing the default, if that makes sense to you, Jerry. What I do want to see, though, is the ability to take these tertiary sites, because we've seen a lot when teams will go to the tertiary site first, especially in Buell. Well, that just makes life a lot harder for the attackers. They look at it and they say, well, okay, why are they going here first? Why are they more comfortable here? Why are they wanting to put us through this? And how do we deal with it? Because 9 times out of 10, Jerry, well, you bring a top floor, then a bottom floor, then a tertiary setup. Now, granted, they can do a lot of work on each site, but just those specifics, man. That's the big thing for me.
Yeah, I'm all for a team that tries to sort of take their opponents off guard. And like you said, Cafe, it's kind of a harder one to do that on because you know that bar is 90% of the time going to be that first site. Kitchen is strong, honestly, and you do see some teams go there first as well. But it's very rare to see a reading first, as opposed to a map like we just saw, Villa, for instance, where you've got 3 very viable sites, and there's really no set way of doing things. There's the more sort of slightly favoured one, which is AVG Trophy Kitchen, which we do see more often, but it's not surprising to see a tertiary site come first, or a traditionally tertiary site come first. Cafe, like I say, it's pretty much your meat and potatoes. You know what's coming. The difference with Cafe, however, as opposed to, say, your other meat and potatoes maps, like Oregon and Clubhouse, is the type of hold you go for. Bar, again, this is the sort of very meat and potatoes. There's only really one way you want to hold that. But the kitchen is always intriguing to me in terms of what teams will do, where they want to extend to, whether they want to play higher up through the map, shoot drones, fall back, or whether they play very laterally, hold bakery, or maybe VIP, or a bit of both, and just force the attackers to problem solve. That's the real key game there, because there are so many different ways you can approach that site, and so many different kind of emphases? That's definitely not a word. Emphases? Yeah, maybe. This is a university.
We'll get a thesaurus. We'll sort it out later.
Yeah, we'll get production on that.
Yeah.
So yeah, so many different places that you can have an emphasis on your attacks, and it's a case of assessing the defensive setup and working out which one works best for you. The bans can really determine that. If you see Kaid go through, for instance, then top down is going to be especially difficult to manage because of the way that you can place electro claws and just deny any entrance from bakery. But it's if he does make it through, then if he does get banned, then you leave yourself with a lot more options to go forward. I feel as though not just Kaid, but Mute in this meta is so defining as to how teams hold things. It doesn't just provide that drone denial anymore. He's essentially a much better wall denial than even Bandit is, and he's basically only got one job, which is wall denial. So yeah, I think that we're going to see the way that this game plays out ultimately defined in the ban phase, and how the defenders decide to sort of set the precedent.
Yeah, it's very much a map where the defenders are in the driver's seat, because as soon as the defenders give up something, well, then teams are starting to push through. For example, you think about your pixel. As soon as the defender leaves that position, that's when the attackers start moving through. Not before, not after. They need to clear out pixel before they get in piano realistically. Otherwise, they expose themselves to a myriad of options. For example, the freezer hold that we've seen in ECS quite a few times, and I think Hazard from the Last Resorts Academy roster, that is the biggest fear that I have, is that I'm going to come up against him playing that freezer, getting a crossfire with the pixel player, and then having it open all the way from cocktail so you can shoot over towards the piano side from Shaiko. That's a really strong hold that can be used. As soon as the defenders say they don't want to hold it anymore, that's when that position falls out. That's when you start dismantling it. So it's very much the defenders. They decide what goes on. And I think, like you said, the ban phase, it perfectly encapsulates that. If there isn't a Cade ban, there's roam play. If there is a Cade ban, then we'll see maybe a bakery or a VIP hold, or we might see a split on both, because as soon as one feels pressure, the other one will collapse onto site. I feel like there's a lot of options here, but it's all coming down to the defenders. There's no way that this isn't decided by how the defenders play. The attackers, well, realistically, they're just playing the part of a role, and they need to do it properly. As long as they can get 2 rounds on the board, typically the tertiary sites a lot of teams look for, then they should be good going on to their defense.
Certainly, and the success of the defenders will determine how many of those tertiary sites we will see, and I'm glad we finally got onto it, because reading room is just one of the pièce de résistances. That's also a word that you can't just pluralize. What am I doing with my English? Well, I suppose that was French,
okay.
But it's one of the...
It's alright, it's okay. You're not one of the uni students, don't worry.
Yeah, that's true. I don't have the same level of just big brain. So... yeah, what was I saying? It's one of the gems in Siege, I feel, strategically. So Mute, which has always been a big part of the way it's held. You want to be locking off the freezer wall and making sure that's not breached, so that Cocktail and White becomes a bunker that you can hold on to on the top floor, delaying the push and then gradually falling back to site, which has been opened up, which has been just sort of remodeled to allow for defender favoured holds. And quite often the success of an attack on that site comes down to how quickly and how efficiently you can gain control of Cocktail. I do not see enough teams on a reading room hold or a reading room attack repelling on Cocktail window. That is one of the signs of a good team. If you can coordinate that kind of pinch using the geometry of the map, then you'll see success attacking the tertiary site, and that is crucial if you've managed to let the defenders get onto it. So, Chimps, or to give them their full name, Chimp Hunters versus Minutemen. We are finally ready to see them throw it down on Cafe Dostoevsky. We're in the beautiful snowy land of Russia to settle this one.
Yes, now, I think something that I'm going to touch upon and what you think about, well, for those of you at home, get your notepads out and have a little thought about it, okay? The only time you see mining and dining is when a team is 100% comfortable that they're going to win it, and 9 times out of 10 they do. Thatcher being taken off the board, though, well, that's a pretty bog standard ban, and for very obvious reasons. We talked about that Cade, we talked about that bakery area. If a Thatcher's left alive, that just gets opened up in the blink of an eye. When you look at that top floor, well, a lot of the key power positions, the Thatcher, well, the ADSs, the utility, the 1 that's gone right off the board. You push up Pixel, you get control of Freezer, you open that up with your EMPs. Blackbeard, well, you were talking about Windows, Jerry, and I think that's all I need to say about the Blackbeard ban.
Yeah, he's an absolute menace when it comes to repelling. It's probably his strongest piece of sort of engagement tool, and even outside that, he's a real pain to deal with. A lot of sort of fast rate of fire guns on the defense that may be able to chew through a shield very quickly and land the headshot can deal with him. But if you're up against something like a UMP, then it's almost a free win for the Blackbeard taking that fight. So he's just an annoying operator that clearly the side of Minutemen do not want to have to deal with when it comes to their defensive half. Malusi and Mirror will round out the ban phase, and we were talking about it at length during that prep. Seems as though Kaid has made his way through.
Yes, and essentially what that's going to read out to me as we're going to see Chimp Hunters, if they're on that bottom floor, they probably want to go for that roam play towards VIP or Bakery. You don't have to worry about the vertical play as much. You can commit a roamer to it, but in my opinion, you don't really need to, because a lot of the meat and pie of that site is down to that lateral play. The vertical play, yes, granted, that is a huge position, but you can shut them down very easily if need be by getting a roamer up there, focused on getting that electroclaw off the wall, which is probably why that IQ can be brought on the board. But we are going to be heading to the top floor. Aruni is going to be in play. She has that unique ability of a robot arm that can just punch through walls. Now, that can create a lot of sightlines, and when you think about a map like Gav Dostoevsky, a lot of the crossfires, specifically that one into that piano that I was talking about earlier, well, this just opens up that opportunity. Also, you can make those cocktail bar areas a lot safer. You don't need to use the impacts, but you can. And we haven't even got to the gate. Those Aruni gates, just the utility drain that it gives you, it doesn't make it incredibly defender-sided, because one thing and it's gone, but it doesn't make life great, does it, Jerry?
No, they're just a bit of a pain to deal with at the end of the day, and the way that they're going to be utilised on this site, I'm yet to see, because you've really, with an Aruni, you've got to be thinking about who you're pairing her with. She does a lot of things, but none of them particularly well. Sure, she can deny access, but, you can just tank that hole. So pairing it with trap operators or delay operators like the Goyo, for instance, like Tachanka or a Smoke, does see some success. But you want to pair her. Similarly, with the Jaeger, ADSs, they can catch things, as do the laser gates. So making sure that they're doubled up like you would with a Wamai, for instance, just sort of lends extra strength to that. I like that they're bringing both sides of the coin here, or a few different sides of the coin. The last, maybe third side of the coin, because it's a very weird coin, is drone denial, but we're not seeing any of that on the side of Chimp. So I doubt that it will impede the sort of collection of information for the side of Minutemen on this push. They're looking to make fairly, well, not quick ground. They've still yet to take control of the top of red, and really that's first on your checklist when going for any push on Cafe.
Yeah. Now, Rua playing on the Skylight, I've looked at that name and that's simply what I'm going to call it. I think that's the best way to describe it. Now, that player can see that Go Shield and Freezer, but knows there's a lot of utility there. So you, A, have a hint as to how this is being, how your push is being dealt with, but B, you don't really have that much information. Now, the way that it's being played with Angelo getting 2 free kills is going to be very, very dominant in the side of Chimp Hunters. Age of Soul is kind of stood here like, okay, well, what do I do now? If I drop, well, I'm in trouble. If I don't, we don't do anything. We waste time, and then we'll be in trouble. It's a very damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. You need to look down to the basics, get the drones and get the information of someone ready to act upon it. Get that player repelling on the south window. If that was open so much earlier, which it was, I'd like to point out, well, then immediately you should be aware of this piano presence. A very heavy piano hold is just screaming out right now. Chimp Hunters, they don't want to give away anything. Like I said, as soon as the defenders decide to pull back, that's when the attackers have that opportunity. Ruadi is going to be taken out. Dumfries will find that refrag. But at this point, now you're in a 2 versus 4. It's not a great start for the Minutemen. Chimp Hunters, 50 seconds, just lock in.
Dumfries is a rat in a cage right here in Cigar Room. He's got 2 Aruni gates locking him in. Virtually no way of dealing with the Evil Eye that's holding him off. Atlantic will take down the last sort of smidgen of assistance that he could possibly receive, and now he's really stuck. He decides to rotate under New Hatch, go for that shy hook spot. He's just going to walk up bar and try and find a kill in Freezer, but Atlantic is looking his way, and that is an easy shutout for Chimps after getting some very nice opening kills with that prone Valkyrie, setting the pace and just demolishing the side of Minutemen.
Okay, right, now there's a couple of things I really need to talk about when you look at that push. You look at Minutemen's approach to that site. Well, they're opening up Red Wall. Now, that's not a problem at all. That's something you need. It allows easier rotation and safer rotation, might I add, to give your players that freedom of movement getting into piano. But you see the Aruni gate. You can drone underneath it. Yes, there's a Maestro camera, but you need to get that information. You need to have that position. That window was open, like I said. That is a warning. Somebody is going to be playing there. And if they are, then you're going to face that aggression very early on. This wasn't something that the Minutemen were prepared for, and Angelo just took advantage of that so much. I think Minutemen, tight droning. That's the name of the game. Get the information. Start reading into a couple of these clues that Chimp Hunters are giving you. As soon as Angelo gets those kills, the rest of the Minutemen didn't know what to do. They were still on the roof. You had Dumfries moving in, granted, but I think rat in a cage, that was the perfect way to describe it. There was no way out until Chimp Hunters gave him the only way out, which was a box, unfortunately. Chimp will be heading down to this bottom floor. That Cade will be brought out alongside the Maestro. A lot of heavy hitters in the defensive department of operators. So, combined with Valkyrie, take a look at this secondary gadget lineup and tell me what you see, Jeremy.
Well, plenty of C4 is what I see on the side of the defense, and that is, well, we've seen it on Villa. Just a sign that vertical play is likely to come to fruition here. Atlantic rather, with that peek from the dining window. Very cheeky, taking down NJS or NSJ Source. That's going to be a mouthful, but I mean, it's Source, so I like a mouthful.
Yeah, it's Source.
Oh dear.
Yeah,
sorry, joke number 1 of the day. All right, getting off to a good start on this map, I suppose. Yeah, that's not good. Last round we saw early on the Ashe and the Zephyr get lost immediately without really getting to use much of their utility, and it spelt disaster. Those Evil Eyes were costing them the Aruni Gate, locking them out. They still had the option of soft destruction with the Ace and the nades on the sledge, but you know, you sacrifice lethality and hard breach when you trade for items with those. So it was not ideal, and losing the Ashes early on is not good, especially without the Zoe on the board this time. They sorted it out for a Jackal. Once again, short on the soft destruction, and you really want that sort of range option for soft destruction when it comes to pushing the site with those Evil Eyes in place.
Ooh. And a little Mexican standoff coming on. I think both players are aware that somebody's nearby, but who's going to crack first? Who's going to break? It's Dumfries. He's going to rotate off, not playing down by that prime position. Now, there is a C4, a pre-place being held just in case they're ready. But right now, Atlantic, well, he's got 1 kill. He's going to want a couple more. Now you're going to see Sondanas rotating around to help out, but Kieran is going to find that first kill. Reading is taking control of the Jackal Stand will go out, but Sledge will just get revived. Now, taken down to low HP, my thought immediately goes to the cake is. You're in the wrong position at the wrong time, and you just get shut down by electricity, or a Maestro camera, or anything that the defenders have to throw at you at least. You're just a sneeze away from death. But Minutemen, this is much better position. They have vertical control, they're getting information on the players, they're on the same level as the site. They've lost a player, granted, but they've also got a kill. Now they're going to lose another one, though. Kieran will be taken away as the Jackal. But when it comes to this late round, the only real thing you're losing is those smokes and is that gun. The rest of the players that you desperately need are still there. The Sledge, the Ace, the Nomad. Granted, you want a couple more. You're going to lose that Nomad, though. Mo's going to be able to pick up a kill. And, well, Dumfries and Rua, they're isolated. They're split apart with 30 seconds left. And they're going to need to go into a choke point, but not before Mo will fall.
That is tough for Mo. And now, oh, another defender just caught napping Angelo this time. But Bullet is awake and ready to receive both the remaining attackers. Dumfries and Ra going down in a heap. Great little 1-2 snap from the Maestro. That's going to lock it out for Chimp Hunters. Again, on this bottom floor, they're looking very sound. Speaking of sound, Sordanos, which is almost the word sound, but not quite, with a fantastic kill that we didn't quite see, but... Oh, no, it is Soundanos. Basically, yeah, okay, my pun worked. Don't worry, guys, we're on to 2 for the day. Soundanos managed to get the frag onto the Jackal, who was playing above, while holding from prep. That was key. It shut it from... I think it took it from a 4 versus 4 to a 4 versus 3. And at that sort of game state, that is a huge kill. Really, Chimp should have done better and probably should have been a bit more aware of the situation here, but they're lucky they've got someone like the Alder-wielding player whose name I have forgotten, but will remember in a few seconds. It was, of course, Chimp? No, it wasn't
Bullet.
Chimp. Who was it? Bullets, of course.
Chimp is the team.
Chimp is the
What
team,
did I
yeah.
say?
What's wrong with me?
I'm
Bullet,
pretty
with
sure
plenty of bullets, because he's got the Alder. So they've definitely
sure
given him... that has to be the reasoning behind it, right? We give lots of bullets to a guy named Bullet.
I mean, well, the math just doesn't lie, but pretty sure
It
I saw a Echo Yokai charge. Doesn't matter, though. What we did see was Bullet just playing with very nice game sense. As soon as you say, okay, they're either going to flood through here, we have got some information still, so we're just to say, right, they're probably going to go for a split push. You're seeing Bullet with a lot of audio. You're the only gunfight that's being taken, so you shoot that one player, you flick around, you shoot another. We are going to approach that piece de resistances that you were talking about, Jerry, with the reading dining site. It's one that I really love because it just shows that little bit more depth to it. It adds the third dimension of the vertical play in a way that I don't think the bottom floor does. But what we're going to see from Minutemen is quite possibly a vertical take. They don't have a buck on the board, so they're just going to rush it out.
Oh, no.
And they're going to run right into Sandanas. Don't make that pun again, please. I'm begging of you. But the white stairs push is going to be led out by Source. He is going to start moving forward with Rua with that Ash charge and will start opening up dining. The breach, the barbed wire gone. Now you have that little bit of freedom of they don't have such obvious information. But right now you're feeling like fish in a barrel as we'll see Source take some damage. Not able to land a killing blow at the moment onto Mo. He's just going to reload and call onto Angelo for some support. The shotgun SMG combo of that SAS operator. That's not great. The diffuser's down on brown stairs, and Sedanos, he doesn't have to move. He's in a great position.
Yeah, you could say he's in a sound position. No, I won't. Age of Soul.
Alright, I'm done.
Yeah,
I'll send my invoice. And
NJ is being caught between a rock and a hard place here. 1 Atlantic on Heaven, and 2 Soundanos, who will deliver the final blow. He's on a triple for the round, and every single kill has come from this one position looking down brown stairs. This could be one of the easiest aces he ever picks up should he continue. He will continue as Ra goes down. That's a quad now, and he must be hungry. Age of Soul is lurking, but Mo will deny him the satisfaction. A flawless round, though, coming through from Chimps, and wow, okay, that was just Minutemen, what you doing? What you doing?
Well, called a Minutemen for a reason. That round was essentially shut down within the minute because you're seeing Sandanos on this Heaven position, keeping an eye on that brown stairs. You know, you're seeing these players, okay, right, that main lobby's just been opened up. These players are pushing through, as you can see. There is information. And they're not looking. They're fully sprinting up on that entry with the diffuser. The Ace taking that lead, just not the right position. Sandanos gets those 2 kills, and in doing so, shuts down the momentum. Minutemen, they know, okay, they're watching brown stairs, they're probably watching white, and they probably have a setup for it. Brown stairs was the location that they were going to get the diffuser onto site, if any. So you look at that and you simply say, that's painful. That's when the round ends. Sandanos, like you said, doesn't need to move, actually calls Atlantic up to help out onto that cocktail balcony. At that point, the crossfire there, they take away Source, they take away everybody that is on the board, and, well, didn't get the ace, but definitely won my favor, Cherry.
Yep, he's impressed me with that one, even though it was not too flashy. He was just holding a position well. He peaked well, and he won those fights, even though some of them weren't even fights, so he just slaughters. But yeah, I feel like a greater test will come his way, certainly, but he's off to a good start, and that's going to do wonders for your confidence. So let's see. Angelo, he's lurking once again in piano. He hasn't got a single kill since the very start of this game, where he was in the exact same position and got a quick double, shutting down both the Zofia and the Ashe. I doubt they will let him get away with such antics again.
I hope.
You've got to hope for a minute, then, that they don't let that happen. But they're going for a very different approach by the looks of things, which is odd to say for a cafe top floor attack. Looks like Age of Soul is intent on guiding his team up white stairs. I say that as a lot of the rest of the team are just rappelling to the roof. Oh, I see. So he's extended. He's just making sure that the run out doesn't come. He's just holding a little bit more advanced, expecting that sort of garage peak. And, well, he's not rewarded for it because no one is aggressing. But Dumfries is rewarded with a little bit of, you know, a loss of some of his toes there as he gets caught rappelling. And will take a bit of damage, but he should shake that off.
Yeah. Now, what I want to see here, you can see that player on that piano window is right there. Now, Angelo is there, and like I said, I want to see this drone work. I want to see the attackers knowing about Angelo's position here. The main thing I want to see right now, though, as soon as the hatches are done, I want to see Age of Soul. I want to see you rotate to that white window. If you get a flank count down in white, you say, right, whoever the support is, hold this. We're going to put the pressure on. We're going to push out the pixel player. And I'm going to catch that exit frag. But you need to take control of Angelo first. Angelo, like you said, only got 2 kills in that first round. And that was in this exact position, capitalizing upon a lack of information. Rua will start droning. Kieran will be around with that Ashe breaching charge rate to deal with the utility. And, well, if there's a better symbol of somebody's coming than an Ashe breaching charge, I don't know what it is, Jerry. Angelo's just going to have to hold the angle, wait for the drop on the audio, has a C4 to deal the damage if the bullets won't. And then you also have the Aruni gate, the barbed wire, the Maestro camera to tell you if they come from double. Angelo has got a power position that, in my opinion, only the window can deal with.
Certainly hasn't he? We hear the drop from the sledge, that telltale sound of a sledgehammer on barbed wire. Give him away, but he's going to hold firm on that C4 for the time being. He knows that there's someone rappelling on this wall, or a window rather. You don't rappel on, what do you do with another wall? Oh, he finally pops up and takes the head off Source, and that's got to hurt Angelo with another double from this position. Make it, oh yes, a third against Rua. He whips out the deagle for good measure, but that is basically it. Once again, he's defanged an entire Minutemen attack from Bar, and now he's got the opportunity to try and seal an ace. He will not do so. So once again, Mo provides that buzzkill, but Dumfries left in the 1 versus 5. His position, no, he's right in the heart of the defense, having snuck his way up to Pixel, but it's not long before Mo collects his second on the round and shuts it out. Very swift work there by Angelo and Mo to take down yet another Bar attack.
I just want you to talk to me like that, man. I want you to say my name like that, but right. Let's talk about the round. Obviously, there's a lot to unpack. Angelo, absolutely huge there. But, Minutemen, you could have avoided that very, very easily. You had that window play. As you look at this right now, okay? The biggest thing that stands out to me is Angelo can play so comfortably because Sandanos is in Pixel. He can focus completely on this window, has that audio information of a push coming through, and says, right, I'm going to deal with it. But, realistically, if Angelo played it safe, Sandanos would be there as soon as Angelo dies to just capitalize upon the kill. What I think could have really, really got the round for Minutemen, well, you saw Dumfries was playing on those white stairs on that ace, going back to that Ashe now, just saying, okay, we're going to switch things up. It's just not been working out. Let's swap the roles. So Dumfries is going up those white stairs. And in doing so, you got undetected until you were in that bathroom area. You could have killed Sandanos. You coordinate that push just a little bit more. You get that free kill. Suddenly, Angelo, instead of being in a power position, is in... I think, I'm going to go back to what you said, a rat in a cage. He's holding that angle. He then has to get pressured from red stairs and the window. At the same time, that's an unwinnable gunfight. Somebody will win and pick up that kill onto the Valkyrie. The pixel's been cleared off. You take very early control of that piano, or very late, depending on when this execute does come out. But it's decisive. It's strong. You're seeing the rotate of Chimp Hunters. It's staggered at that point. They're trying to fill in these gaps, plug these holes. Unfortunately, that's just not what we saw. Angelo, just the meat grinder. That's what I'm going to say. That's what his Valkyrie is in that bar. And if we see it again, which we're not going to, Jerry,
No.
I'd be heartbroken if we saw Angelo play there again and get more kills.
Well, I don't even know if he'll get the opportunity, to be fair, because that's two successful bar defenses. So unless he's really feeling like extending the roam, which is definitely an option, he's proven that he can do so, then, yeah, unlikely. But one thing I just want to point out as well in that was his movement was superb. Being locked in that tiny, close position, like, and being able to dodge and duck and weave your way out of the bullets, every single movement he made, the prone before 180 or just as 180ing and taking the fight onto the window player was perfect. Moving your head hitbox in that situation is essential. Dumfries will finally get this round off to the races with a pick onto Soundownos, and that is your star player so far, at least. Counts the count. Mo will once again respond. He's been so good at getting these responses, and the C4 out of freezer hole has been made by the Maverick is the way he does it. He's going to vote up onto this little counter here, and this is going to help him immensely with trying to take the fight. Sensible to go prone in this situation, but no, he gets fragged out and is now in a DBNO state. Has the support from Angelo, and who peeks through the window, but can't land it. Atlantic, though, is the final nail in the coffin again for Minutemen as he strikes from behind, flanking down White Stairs, taking out everyone besides Dumfries and Age of Soul, now left in an almost unwinnable situation. No hard breach option, and everything just sort of stacked against them here.
It's just not looking great. I'm looking at this and I'm saying, okay, well, we might have another 6-0 half, in my opinion, because you look at this round and then you say, tertiary bomb site, which was definitely the Minutemen's easiest round, in my opinion. You just sat Sandanos, who is dead at the moment. You sat him on one window, but Dumfries, very low HP, is going to be contesting that double door. Minutemen still have a minute to make this work. If they can isolate the players, then they can shut them down, but there's still that looming threat of they have the roamers, they have control of the staircases. You do have air jabs, granted, but what's the bet as soon as one person comes down, detonates it, or shoots it and dies to you? What's the bet another player won't come out? Angelo will be using a long line of sight to get a kill onto Dumfries and puts Age of Assault into a terrible position for Nomad, who's yet to find a single kill. The pre-fires will come out, 30 seconds will tick down, and Age of Souls is trying to stay alive. Looks for the first kill of their game so far, and will be able to find it onto Atlantic, but 20 seconds, you've been pushed back so far. Now you're just seeing players prone, the pre-fires come out, and Mo's able to clean things up. Chimp Hunters, 5-0, just like we saw Lockdown Leadens 5-0. What is happening today, Jerry?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen one attacking round all day. Like, that one final round that Lockdown Ludens managed to take on Villa to seal the win 7-2. And we haven't seen a single attacking win besides that. This is uncalled for. This is unfair on defenders. I mean, on attackers, rather.
They have families, dude.
Yeah, they do. How many times have we said, and Mo seals it out? He seems to be such a reliable player for Chimp, just to get that, just to push them over the line and secure the win. And it doesn't matter if he's had a quiet round. He's got, what, now, 6-1? And I feel like he's gotten at least, like, a kill in every round. His cost must be probably through the roof right here. We've had some really flashy plays from Angelo and Atlantic, who I got confused with each other during this round, last round, because they've both been on Valk and both made big multi-kills, but they've been swapping between her. So, yeah, I feel like he's just been that sort of consistent one. We saw one round with Soundownos getting a big 4K, Bullet with a nice 2K. Every single round, Mo has been just a rock.
I do want to say, actually, on that exact point, is you look at Mo in that replay, and what you see is Mo sat in freezer, just sat there playing safe. Granted, he gets a kill with a C4 and downs the Ash. That's huge in itself. Gets knocked down, the revive will come out because they don't have another frag grenade, but that's because you've distracted them so long that your roamers are still there. No roam clear coming out from the Minutemen. I said, if there's a Cade on the board, there might be a little bit of roam clear. There was, and Chimp Hunters listened and they said, right, well, we'll just catch him off guard. You've also got Bullet, who, like you said, in that 1 versus 2 was able to just easily close things out on the first time we saw the bottom floor. You have got strong foundations for the Chimp Hunters, where Minutemen, they feel like a blunt sword or a wooden dagger. And I hate to be this critical, but just like what we saw with Sniper Monkeys, there becomes a point where you can't ignore these things anymore.
The hardest thing to stomach as well for Minutemen is that they managed to get the opening they needed in that round. It might be one of the only, if not the only round where they found the opening frag. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they couldn't capitalize on it. That flank from White Stairs just caught them off guard. Doesn't matter how quickly you make that entry. If you're not watching your flanks, if you're not, you know, crossing the T's, dotting the I's, then you leave yourself susceptible to that swing back. And yeah, a defender man advantage is always more powerful than an attacker man advantage. So you have to be careful with how you approach it, especially on Cafe. We're seeing an interesting lineup here from Minutemen, going a little bit desperate in terms of the operator's selection to try and seal this one out. That being said, the tools for a reading room attack, or defense rather, that they know is going to be coming through from Chimp. So, having this hard breach charge is certainly about the minimum needed for this wall, which is ideal because then you've got more utility in pocket. The fuse charges can be exceptional when used in that top-down situation, which you know will come through if you clear this top floor. Atlantic playing on Pixel with a Goyo shield mine, a very dangerous act, and Ra is going to just eliminate that factor altogether by removing the Goyo himself. Man advantage once again in favor of Minutemen. Can they capitalize this time?
Yes, Rua is able to find a second kill in this round, and Source is able to find their first of the game so far. Well, actually, I'm going to argue yes. That fuse is getting to work alongside the sledge, and look at this. The C4 goes off, does some damage to Rua, but well, Bullets just sat here just absolutely getting ruined, and Dumfries gets him with the pistol. Minutemen in the best position they've been all game to put around on the board, but is it too little too late? Mo will find an answer, the position will be called out. Minutemen looking for a frag, then they could be planting, and they're going to start doing it. Dumfries, though, is able to close it down, and Jerry, I wanted to get mean against Minutemen at the start of this round. I wanted to say, well, okay, Jerry the Music Man, are you ready to become Jerry the Maths Man? 6 kills the Minutemen went into this round with. Now, as a team combined, that is. Now they're on 11.
Yeah, that's a stark difference, and it just goes to show what a good attack will do for you. That was a funny round, if I'm honest. My highlight of that round was a bullet emptying an entire mag into the ceiling and then being taken down by a pistol. The irony.
That was quite good, yeah.
Like, but yeah, not his finest moment, but I'm sure he'll live through it because they've managed a 5-1 split on the defensive half of Cafe, and that's pretty solid by most teams' standards, so they're going to look to hopefully close it out here. We're seeing some interesting operator picks already for this first attacking round for Chib, switching off towards that Amaru, hiding it, and that indicates to me that perhaps we're going to see a surprise push towards Cocktail. Certainly, she's the best to do that sort of thing. On the other side of the coin, Raj is bringing that Warden along, and I feel as though he's a bit slept on, right? If you know a particular position is going to need to have a lot of flashes dumped its way, a lot of utility dumped its way, e.g. Pixel, then he's actually almost more valuable than a Jaeger or a Mai in this day and age. And I say that, we're looking at both of those operators as well on the lineup. The question is, what are they trading here in favor of this incredible sort of catching and throwable denying utility? We've got a Smoke, we've got a Valkyrie. There's, you know, there are gaps. They do have intel, they've got stalling. No wall denial at all, no drone denial at all. This could be their undoing.
Yeah, no Maestro Kate or even a Doc, which is a lot of the defenses. Those are the final pieces of the puzzle for a lot of teams. For example, in the ECS, I believe, as I'm sure you know that league, Jerry.
I think I've heard of it.
Yeah, we had Dilly using an ACS-12, finding 3 kills, just playing that cocktail position. But what I do quite like is that Warden, like you said, is a lot of utility behind it in this new method with the changes to the ADSs. Plant them in Pixel. Plant them maybe even in the Rotate and the Bomb Chassis on Coastline. Yes, I've spotted it as well. Atlantic is ready to go right up there in what may mimic. That's the word, Jerry. Mimic the Fuking Zoo. However, the big issue for this is that you're going to give away your position to Age of Soul and Akiran, who are both going to be playing ready and waiting. Atlantic just holding that position, has the G8 as well. So as soon as you're in, that gun's going to be screaming. If you get in alive, well, there's at least one kill in the bag for you because they don't know if you get in alive. They don't know you're there. You're putting rounds down range immediately. You're finding frags. We're getting ready for a skylight drop as well. I think Chimp Hunters, they're going to dump utility, and then they're just going to demonstrate to the Minutemen what this is all about. Atlantic's going to start going. He's going to find one kill. He's going to look for another one. He's going to catch Age of Soul, not even looking. And Chimp Hunters, they're going to be looking to push us through to match point already. Angelo with the team down will be taking down Atlantic, but not before finding the kill onto Dumfries. Now your Warden is in a retake scenario with your Jaeger. Jaeger being taken out on the white stairs, but that's going to be it. Rua finds one kill onto the chassis, has to look for more. It's a 3 versus 1 at this point. The revive onto Atlantic takes place, but Mo's going to be taken down, vaulting outside for the post plan. Do you know that there are more players there? Don't think you do. You're looking at it, you're checking all these angles, waiting, just ready, prepared. And Rua's going to have to move forward into this horrible, horrible setup that you have given the attackers yourselves. And like sharks circling blood, there's only so long I can stall for, only so long Rua can, and that's going to be the round shut out. Chimp Hunters will go to match point.
That was brutal. It was almost like a bear tearing apart a sheep. It was just horrible to watch in some points, but that being said, the sheep fought back. Minutemen with an almost clutch there. The Warden of all people managing to round his way to Cigar Shop and take some fights, but this was the star moment, really. Atlantic making the entry into heaven that we were waiting for him, and I mean, he was the angel there for Chimp, just sending up, finding all the kills. Didn't quite get that last one, Angelo taking down Dumfries in the freezer, but after that, it was too little too late for the retake from Ra, and lucky to get a couple, but like you said, that no man's land of Bar, just an impossible scenario for him to waltz on round and get through. The reason I really, really love that particular instance of the sort of cocktail rush strategy was that it completely circumvented the setup from Minutemen. They went so hard on that catching utility, the Warden, the Wamai, the Jaeger, like we highlighted in the prep, and all of it stacked towards Pixel. Nothing on cocktail, nothing on the drop, and it just became a frags game. You send enough bodies in with those high-powered ARs, the surprise factor, you're going to win the round. Good plant, sealing it out, and by the end of it, Chimp had bodies to spare. So, very clean. 6-1 the scoreline, and it shows. The performance has been immeasurable from Chimp. Minutemen, unfortunately, just not up to par, it seems, but they have a chance at sealing this out, potentially. Or catching up, not sealing it out. They can catch up. There is still overtime, potentially. Yep. I know that's optimistic, right? 6-1 overtime, probably not on the cards, but they will be hoping.
I'm going to be honest now, Minutemen, there's a lot of time to really start improving before we do get to the end of Season 2, so don't take this to heart too much, but unfortunately, you are struggling, and I think we can all agree when it comes to that. Chimp Hunters, they want the roam clear, they're bringing the Jackal. One thing that I've loved, and I'm going to bring it back to that last round, is the information and the adaptability to the challenges presented before them. They said they're going for Pixel. Okay, what are they committing? It's something you highlighted yourself, Jerry. Call yourself a prophet, Jerry the Prophet Man at this point. You said there was no Maestro, no Echo, nothing there to having real drastic impact in the cocktail. So Chimp, they put the Amaru, they took control of it, they pushed Skylight at the same time, circumvented that piano, like you said, and they didn't have one of those core anchors like the Gate or the Maestro to really deal with it. They shot Smoke and Wamai in the back of the head of Atlantic. They suddenly had control. Right now, a minute's off the clock, and they're already doing vertical play. Dumfries is being taken off the board. Now, we're going to see Kieran being tagged down just that a little bit more by Mo. Zandanos finding that first kill. Age of Soul, though, quick to answer, finds the kill onto Atlantic. The bug taken away, but yeah, you still got an Ash. You still got a Jackal with the secondary. You still have a Sledge. And Sandanos is still on the team with his primary. Going to find another kill. Yes, you see Source on the throne. Is it going to have that impact, Jerry?
That was a blur, and Kieran is lucky to get away with his life. That's all I gotta say. Maybe Source will have this impact. Looks like he will as he strikes a bullet into the heart of himself. And now Mo goes down as well. This Jaeger just not dealt with. Takes a bit of spray through the wall. No, in fact, that's Angelo on 90. And finally, the pinch comes through. Sandanos doing his duty and locking down that roam play. Finally retaking the ground that they'd already taken. But a 2 versus 2 now. Much more hope for Minutemen here. No more C4s in hand, so any sort of vertical play will be dealt with bullets. Oh, Sandanos with the quad. He's on for the ace and he's entering into sight. He's just got Kieran between him and a wonderful way to sound out the victory for Chimps. And he's got the refrag ability behind him. That's Angelo following close. Kieran playing with this castle barricade, but the cover of smoke is so key. Angelo sticking the diffuser. Sandanos holding from behind the bomb. Kieran just has to worm his way through the smoke. He has no idea where the players are. And Sandanos with the ace to seal out the win for the Chimp Hunters. Well, they've hunted down the Minutemen, and that is it for today. Fantastic win from them. 7-1 on Cafe, and they continue their winning streak.
Well, that was a round and a half, wasn't it, Jerry?
Yeah.
But that brings our total up to 3 rounds after the split that we've seen at this point. This is truly revolutionary, I believe. Now, one thing... Oh, 4 rounds, actually, because we did have to take it together for this game. I'm sorry about that. I apologize. But one key thing that we need to talk about is this. We're seeing Chimp Hunters rushing in, getting very early aggression. Now, Sandanos picking up kill after kill. Look at where his position is right now. Look at how when this pinch comes through onto red stairs, as soon as you see Source pop off right now, yeah, he's being pushed by Angelo. He's being tagged. That's great. But Chimp, they're just molding around. Look at that. Sandanos has crossed double door to get onto red stairs. A Roma has been killed from behind. That is exactly not what you want. But then Chimp Hunters, they know how close it is. 2 versus 1. They go for the plant. They go for the plant rather than the frag. Sandanos wanting that ace. You knew he wanted it. But the way he reacted after he got it, oh, he was desperate for it. That was incredibly well played from them. They kept a lot in their mind. Their adaptability, their sense of mind, that's just a warning to every single team in this league as it stands. Minutemen, though, a lot to work with, a lot to improve on, and a lot to take away from this. Teams have done it before, like you said, Jerry. Office, Chexland. Those are 2 teams which really impressed me last season. I want to see if Minutemen can be the new Office or the new Chexland. That's the key narrative for them to take away. Right, you've lost quite a few rounds. That's fine. You've lost your first 2 games. That's okay. You've got a lot of VOD review. Now, they're just looking at that and they're saying, yeah, we won it comfortably. What can we take away from it? They don't have much. If they're looking to improve, well, they just have to go for scrims. But if you want to improve, you've got a lot of material to work with, a lot of key areas to improve. So take away positives from this because you're going to need it moving forward.
And I think you highlighted as well earlier, Angelo being that sort of continuing factor from Chexland into Chimp Hunters. And I mean, yeah, if they're going to be one of the new teams, like the new Chexland or the new Office, I guess it will be the new Chexland, right?
Yeah.
They've shown signs of it, right? Chexland were dominant throughout the whole of last season, showing incredible progress as well. So I think the scariest thing watching them in that game was every single round there was a new hero, right? There was someone that we could look to, and it was basically the whole roster by the end of it, and say that they are making key plays. You know, Atlantic, Angelo, we saw Mo just being a consistent rock throughout, nothing flashy, but he had one of the highest probably costs by the end of it. And then Sound, he went 11-4, and 9 of those 11 kills were in 2 rounds. He got a 4K in 1 round and an ace in the last. So, like, just concentrated raw fire from him. And, yeah, I mean, he's going to be happy with that, just sort of stealing the MVP right away at the end there. But I've got to be perfectly honest and say, in a team of individuals that really, really shook the boat today and just dragged the Minutemen kicking and screaming across the finish, or not across the finish line, just into a dumpster, Mo was probably my MVP, just for the fact that he was the most consistent, always picking up the final kills and closing the round out. I can't heap praise upon this roster enough. That was just a brilliant showing from them.
Yeah, a masterclass in how to play CAF. I've got to echo, Mo was a real standout player, because honestly, we talk about the fraggers a lot. We talk about Sandanos getting those kills, but the supports, you know, they do a lot of the legwork, and Mo definitely demonstrated that they've got a lot more to offer than just droning and hard destruction. They can get those kills, they can frag, make the impact plays. I'm very, very pleased with how Chimp Hunters played that. But Jerry, that's our last game of today.
It is.
Yeah.
And, I mean, what a bang. It's been 2 whitewashes, quite honestly. We saw 7-2 on Villa from Lockdown Ludens, 7-1 on Cafe from Chimp Hunters. But the entertainment value was there. That was a thrilling Cafe through and through. And, yeah, it's been a pleasure to cast alongside you, McCready. Again, I say this with almost every other caster. I never seem to sort of pin down a single duo partner, but it's always a pleasure, and it's always too long since our last one. So
it's fine, Jerry. I'll come up to Yukon just for you.
Just do it. Go on.
Just for you.
We'll see. Nice. All right. Well, tantalizing that. Anyway, we've got another play week under our belts, and that's it. We've got 2 play weeks under our belts now. So how many is it left to go? 7? No. Yeah, 7, right? So round robin, 10 teams. We've got 7 left to go. It's going to be a wild ride. Chimp Hunters and Lockdown Ludens, well, long may they continue. Sniper Monkeys and Minutemen, plenty to improve on. But that's going to be it from us here at BUAL. It's been a pleasure to cast for you, and I hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have here watching. So, thank you very much, and we'll see you again next week.